everyone, Tonya Fowler here. I'm continuing the series on the power of communication. And once again, I have Art Robbins joining me today.
Hi, Tonya. How are you?
Doing great. I'm so glad you're here because we have another very interesting topic to talk about. And it has to do with performance issues and when to communicate those with direct reports. Obviously, it's important to go about this the right way and be professional about it. But Art, I want to ask you though, what would you say is the first thing that really you need to do when you are identifying a performance issue with a direct report?
Well, thanks for having me, Tonya. It's great to be here as always. I think it's really important as a manager to address a performance issue as soon as possible. You know, a lot of managers have anxiety over sitting down with an employee and discussing performance. And there are formal annual performance reviews. But frankly, that's not the best time to address a performance issue because it often happens months and months after it's first observed. And it's too late to really do anything constructive about it. So the best time to speak to an employee is right after the issue is observed, and to pull them aside and tell them, this is what you've seen. This is how you need to, improve. Here's the consequences of, the action that resulted from your behavior, and this is how we can improve the outcome. And to be very, constructive and supportive that you're really doing this to, further develop the employee, as part of his skill development and career development, and also improve the outcomes for the business.
Right. Yeah. And I love, though, what you're saying about not waiting on things. I know whenever I've tried to schedule or just have monthly, check-ins with team members or monthly one-on-one meetings. But you're right, though, sometimes even that is not frequent enough. I like that you're saying that when you observe it, that you need to address it. So great advice there. And, and I know you talked about too, about being specific and objective. And so maybe go a little bit more into that.
Yeah, well, I think it is important to be, very objective and fact-based. This isn't, about your opinion or emotions about the situation, but talk about, the specific actions, that occurred that you feel need to be improved. And there are different types of performance issues, and the different types of performance issues warrant a different response. For example, the issue might be a skills issue, and maybe the employee needs some more training, in a technical dimension or an industry dimension. Maybe it's a quality issue and the employee needs to improve their work habits, do a better job of time management or checking their work. There's a lot of different types of issues that can occur, and you should, adjust your feedback to the employee to not just reflect the issue, but reflect the appropriate corrective action. Again, your objective should be, to further develop the employee to be a better employee and further, improve the outcomes for the benefit of the business and your customers.
Yeah. And I really like what you're saying about, tailoring the approach depending upon, what the actual performance issue is, because there will be different outcomes. And I know a lot of times, yes, like it is about maybe even just helping them change work habits. And that's going to obviously require different things, like you said, either training, developing checklists for them, showing them how to do things better, whatever it is. So that's great. I think too, another thing that is important when you're sitting down with your direct report is it can, you said it's intimidating for the manager, right? to do these, but there's the flip side too. And it's the employee that's receiving the feedback. And so I think, as managers, we have to make sure that we're doing our active listening and we're giving them a chance to respond, right, to the situation, to provide some of their feedback. Because I know that, you and I, we've had a discussion before about the fact that sometimes you may be getting some feedback from the employee that maybe the performance, yes, you observed something that you thought was out of kilter with things, but maybe they might be uncovering something that's bigger than this situation,
No,
right?
that's a great point, Tanya. And here's a classic example. So one of the big performance issues that we all have to face as managers, are employees not hitting a target or not hitting a goal. And you see this a lot in sales or revenue focused positions. And very often we see cases where a salesperson might not be hitting their targets, not because of an issue of their sales performance, but because of a broader issue. Maybe there's a competitive positioning issue, maybe there's a marketing issue, maybe there's a product issue. And very often the salespeople are the first people on the line, to observe that. And so having that active listening as a manager, having that, empathetic, style to hear the employee out and capture their observations, and then, take that feedback and say, okay, is this a broader, more strategic issue I can address? That's sort of a hallmark of good management here. And again, think about the objective, improve the business outcome. And if you can have a partnership and a true two-way collaboration with the employee, you can not only improve the employee's performance, but improve the overall business performance as well.
Well said. Absolutely. Well, one last thing that I want to just talk to you about, because I think a lot of us in management positions, we've heard this before. You need to document obviously what happens, and there's always talk about SMART goals. But again, we were discussing another time about just the fact, though, that the documentation is not just to make sure that we have these measurable outcomes and everything. Tell me more about, your thoughts on the importance of this.
Well, it is important to document this, and I agree. Having smart, measurable, tangible, actionable goals are really important. That gives you a basis, to follow up the employee, give them further feedback, assure him that he or she is improving, or maybe it uncovers a deeper issue where the employee can improve. Having those documented SMART goals will allow you to do that. And it also does provide, a paper trail, which helps with the overall HR process and management of the employees. So definitely after the conversation, sit down, take 3 minutes, document it, and and follow up with the employee.
Right. And I know too that we've talked about that, again, going back even to getting feedback from the employee sometimes helps to uncover something else that needs, a symptom of a bigger problem. And even, sometimes you may see in your notes, as you're meeting with different employees, that there is something going on there, that maybe there's some, again, connecting to say, oh, I had this same problem with this employee. Oh, over here, I'm having it. This is maybe not an employee issue. This is an organizational issue, right? So
No, absolutely. And it is more of a challenge these days because there's so much more virtual interaction. When these are done best, it's done as part of a relationship. between the manager and the employee, and you have a fluid dialogue that says, hey, this could be better, that could be better. It goes both ways.
Uh,
And now it's hard. Well, we're not with the employees as much, so it's really up to the manager to take the initiative and achieve that level of fluid, productive communication with the employee. And I think if you approach it that this is a good part of management, to see your employees, succeed, and you want to be a proactive enabler of that. That's how you're going to wind up doing an excellent job communicating performance issues and ultimately improving performance.
well said. Well, thank you so much, Art. I really love that. I think that was a great note to end on. And so again, I'm looking forward to us doing more of these because I always love to hear what you have to say. And
Great.
thank you everybody for tuning in. So we'll see you again, right, Art?
We'll do it. Let's do it again, Tonya. Thanks
Okay.
again. Take
Thank
care.
you. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.